Peace, love, shalom, shalom, peace and love. We're going to be reading from the book of Psalms. Bear with me as we do. Bear with me. It's, yeah. So, we're going to be reading from the book of Psalms, chapters 10 through 12, and also the book of Proverbs Chapter 22 and the book of Ecclesiastes Chapter 1. Y'all willing. Peace, love, and shalom. The book of Psalms Chapter 10, verse 1. Lamed, why do you stand afar off, O Yahuwah, hiding in times of distress? So, even in times of David, the Most High hid himself because I believe the more filthy we've grown as a people, the less the Most High wanted anything to do with us. It's like a parent. It's hard to watch a child hit their child do wrong, do what is wrong with it, like a parent watching their child on some form of, addiction, struggle with some form of addiction. It's hard to watch. It's hard to even want to, show up. Verse 2, in arrogance, the wrongdoer hotly pursues the poor. They are caught by the schemes which they devised. So this is similar, spiritual knowledge, wisdom, understanding that you can find coming from the mouth of Solomon. It's the same spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that the Most High spoke through David, just as he spoke through Solomon. So in arrogance, the wrongdoer hotly pursues the poor. In arrogance, and this is what we have today. We have the powers that be hotly in pursuing, in arrogance, hotly pursuing the poor for whatever we, just milking this society for all we have. They are caught by the schemes which they devised. Eventually, it'll catch up with them. Verse 3, for the wrongdoer boasted of his cravings, and the greedy one cursed and despised Yahuwah. So most people, you can hear them boasting about what they want to eat, what they want to buy, what they want to wear, what they want to do, what they want to spend their money on. It says, for the wrongdoer boasted of his cravings. Is this not what we do? Is this not who we are? We boast about our cravings, what we got the taste for, what we want to do, what we want to watch, where we want to go, what we want to spend our money on. Can't wait to tell each other this. Can't help but share this with each other. This is just what we do. We're the same now as we were then in these times of these ancient writings. For the wrongdoer boasted of his cravings, and the greedy one cursed and despised Yahuwah. So this is what the greedy and the cursed one does. This is what the greedy and the cursed one does. They despise the Most High because they believe that they're their own creator. They believe that they're their own maker. They've gotten so greedy and they've gotten so, you know, stuffed with money that they believe they can handle everything themselves. And this is what we have, the arrogance of the powers of the powers of be. Verse 4, in the pride of his face, the wrongdoer does not seek him. In all his thoughts, there is no Elohim. So in all the thoughts of the wrongdoer, there is no creator. There is no maker. Like I said, they're at a level, these people in position of power are at a level that they truly believe that they're their own creator, that they're their own maker, that they're their own gods. It's only when they're getting close to their demise where they begin to be humbled and realize, wow, it's something bigger than themselves. It's much bigger. It's an entity bigger than them. So it says, in the pride of his face, the wrongdoer does not seek him. In all his thoughts, there is no Elohim. He doesn't seek this God that everyone else acknowledges. These powers, these people in position of power doesn't seek seek the Almighty, as most as most of us do. These people in position of power, they're just, they feel as though they got themselves there. They feel as though they should be seeking themselves. So this is their pride, and this is likely people who are doing what is wrong. So this because he called them wrongdoers. They don't seek him in all their thoughts, and his thoughts. There is no Elohim. There is no God. This is what they're saying to themselves. Verse 5, his ways are always prosperous, though. Your right rulings are on high, out of his sight. So this is also describing those who are in position of power who in their thoughts there is no God, but their ways are prosperous because most likely they're being funded by the enemy. They have given wholeheartedly into the ancient knowledge of evil to the point that they're pretty much thriving off this unclean ancient knowledge of evil, this unclean spirit of sin and the enemy. And they're prospering in this world. This is why we see those in position of power doing well, having things. They situated, they got companies, they got this, they got buku money. The scriptures, this is no different than the times of this, David. He's explaining the same people, just like we have leaders today. We wonder why they're in position of power, why they're this, why they're that, why they have it all, why we don't, But it says this, it says, in the pride of his face, the wrongdoer does not seek him. In all his thoughts, there is no Elohim, no God. His ways are always prosperous. Your right rulings are on high, out of his sight. So being as though his ways are prosperous, he doesn't humble himself enough to see God in the things that he or she needs to see him in. His ways are always prosperous, so he's not humbled until he's humbled to a point. He find himself humbled by whatever it is, whether it's his health, whether it's a financial setback, a loss of a loved one, he's not going to see the right rule and the fairness. He's not going to see it. It's just too high for them to acknowledge. They only can see what they've done and what they've accomplished, and everything being prosperous. His ways are always prosperous. Your right rulings are on high out of his sight. He snorts at all his adversaries. Sounds familiar? Sounds like someone right now? Yeah. This is the book of Psalms, by the way, chapter 10, verse 5. We're moving on to verse 6. Verse 6, he has said in his heart, I shall not be moved. From generation to generation, never be in evil. From generation to generation, never be in evil. So this is how they feel. When the people get in position of power, they feel like they're there forever. They're going to be in position of power forever. And that's the plan. They plan on training their children up. And generation after generation, they don't plan on experiencing any setbacks. They don't plan on experiencing any turmoil, trial, or tribulation. This is why it says from generation to generation, never be an evil. Like they truly believe that they'll be fine and their children will be fine. And you have generations of families who, you know, are fine and who have, survived. You have generations of people who have survived the world. You know what I mean? And you have so-called royal families, doing just fine. Verse 6. I'm sorry, verse 7. Pay. His mouth is filled with cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongue is trouble and wickedness. This is how they speak. They just speak nothing but cursing, like as far as like cursing people. This is the cursing that I'm speaking of. This is all that comes from their mouth. Slander, trouble, wickedness, deceit, lying, oppression. This is how these people operate. This is how these people, this is their spirit. They have no sympathy whatsoever, no humility, no remorse. They just spew out trouble. It says under his tongue is trouble and wickedness. And they spew out cursing and deceit, meaning cursing people like, yeah, that's why you're going to do, you're going to be unalive, or that's why I hope this happened to you. I hope that happened to you. People like that talk like that. I hope this and I hope that. That's wicked. That's the most wickedest speaking you can bring the words. When you saying to people, I hope this happened to you, or I hope this don't happen. I hope you don't, you hoping. You hoping that you hoping on a person's downfall. You hoping on a person's misfortune. This is cursing. This is the biblical definition of cursing someone. And this is what comes from the mouth of, those in position of power. This is their second language. Verse 8. He sits in the hiding places of the villages. In the secret places he kills the innocent. So it says his eyes are on the lookout for the helpless, to this day. The same rulers and the people in position of power from ancient times are the same way today. They sitting and hiding in their places, in their think tanks, in their villages, in their bunkers, wherever they are, in secret places. He unalives the innocent. His eyes are on the lookout for the helpless. So this is what they look to, take advantage of the people. Verse 9, he lies in wait in a secret place as a lion in his den. He lies in wait to catch the poor. He catches the poor, drawing him into his net. They set up these establishments. They set up these, they set up these corporations, these companies to pretty much oppress, pretty much take advantage, and monopoly and marketing and advertisement just to will us in. And this is the agenda. It says he lies in wait in a secret place as a lion in his den. He lies in wait to catch the poor. He catches the poor, drawing them into his net. This is a trap that's set. These advertisements, these are traps. Verse 10, and he crouches. He lies low, and the helpless fall under his strength. This is what happens to the masses. This is what happens to the masses. They fall into these advertisement traps, find themselves spending all that they have, all their savings on these advertisement brands, these advertised, items and events. Next thing you know, you have nothing and they have everything. This is what it leads to. You're working for little just for them to take it, just for them to, suck it all up, suck it back up. Verse 11, he has said in his heart, El has forgotten. He has hidden his face. He shall never see. And this is what these people in position of power, they feel as though that the Most High has hidden himself. They feel as though there is no creator. And if there is, he's forgotten us and hidden his face, and he should never see what I'm doing. Like, they have no integrity. This is how they're thinking. Like, they don't have to answer to this supreme spirit. They don't have to answer for, and they don't have to answer for their actions. They don't have to answer for their, oppression. They don't have to answer for taking advantage of the masses. Who are there? They feel like, who are we going to answer to? Who do we need to answer to? We're in control down here. So they like, man, he has said, and this is what they say in their heart. El has forgotten, meaning God has forgotten. He has hidden his face. He shall never see. Like, they truly believe, since there was no eyes around, no flesh eyes around, that they got away with it. No one witnessed it. Verse 12, quoth, arise, O Yahuwah, O El, lift up your hand. Do not forget the lowly ones. So this is what David is saying. This is what we should be saying. Arise, O Yahuwah. And this is an exclamation mark because it's saying, arise, O Yahuwah, O El, meaning God. Lift up your hand. This is exclamation marks he's saying this with. Do not forget the lowly ones. Do not forget the lowly ones. The lowly ones are the humble, those who are in humility. Verse 13, why do the wrong scorn Elohim? That means God. Why do the wrong scorn God? He has said in his heart, it is not required. This is what they say. It's what they say in their heart, like, yo, it's not required for us to obey the unseen. It's not required for us to, follow the instructions of the unseen. It's not required of us. This is what they say. It is not required of us. It's not required. Verse 14, Rush, you have seen it, for you you have seen it, for you observe trouble and grief, to repay with your hand. The poor commits himself to you. You are the helper of the fatherless. So this is David acknowledging the Most High as being the helper of the followers. Acknowledging the Most High as being the helper of the fatherless. Acknowledging the Most High, that acknowledging the Most High for committing himself to the poor, and being able to repay with his hands. Verse 15, Shin, break the arm of the wrong one and the evil one. Search out the wrongness that would not be found out. So this is what he's asking, like, break the arm of the wrong one and the evil one. And there's plenty of them. This is what we should be seeking, like, hey man, let those who are evil and let those who are doing what is wrong to others, let them get what they deserve. Let them get what they deserve, And it's like this is what David is asking. Search out his wrongness that would not be found out. So he's like, man, what he believed, basically, what they believe that they'll get away with. What they believe that they'll get away with, let it be found out. Let it be found out. Verse 16, Yahuwah is sovereign forever and ever. The nations shall perish from his land. So that means king. Yahuwah is king forever and ever. The nations shall perish from his land. Eventually, that's what will happen. Verse 17, Tall, Yahuwah, you have heard the desire of the lowly ones. Those are the humble. You prepare their heart. You incline your ear. So to the humble, he prepares their heart. It's like you don't have to. So if you're already humbled, you won't find yourself getting humbled by the Most High. Meaning like the Most High catching you off guard and bringing you low when you were just high and, with getting big-headed and having, being airheaded, letting it get to your head. When you stay low, when you stay humble, you don't have to find yourself being caught off guard and humbled by the Most High. And this is what this is saying. You prepare their heart. So when you're humble, your heart is prepared. Your heart is prepared for a day of distress. Your heart is prepared for whatever, whatever misfortune is coming, whatever, whatever there is that is expected to happen. That's inevitable. Your heart is prepared if you're humble. And the only way you can be prepared is to be humble. If you're not prepared, you're going to find yourself being humbled getting humbled, and it's gonna be tough for you. It's gonna be tough on you because you weren't prepared. Your heart wasn't prepared for it. Verse 18, to defend the fatherless and the downtrodden, so that man who is of the earth no longer oppresses. So yeah, this is what the Most High defends the fatherless. He defends those who've been done wrong all their lives. Their people been done wrong all their lives. This is what this is saying. This is the book of Psalms chapter 10, verse 18, to defend the fatherless and the downtrodden, so that man who is of the earth no longer oppresses. So this is what the Most High he calls. So he come to the defense of the fatherless, the widows, the those who are have disabilities, those who are less fortunate. This is the rest. This is who he comes. He comes to these people's defense. These are his people, and especially if they're humble people. If they're humble about their situation, they're not taking it out on him. They're not cursing him. They're not denouncing him. They're accepting what it is that they, who they are, what has happened to them. Don't want to mess with them kind of people. You don't want to mess with the Most High's people, and his people are the fatherless and who are humble, even though they have every reason to be upset because they're fatherless. The widows who are humble, but they have every reason to be upset because they're widows. The poor because they're poor, and they have every reason to be upset because they're poor. The homeless who are humble, but they have every reason to be upset because they're homeless. But they're choosing to be humble. You don't want to mess with these kind of people. You don't want to. These are the Most High's people. They're humble through their unfortunate situation. Chapter 11, verse 1. In Yahuwah I have taken refuge. Why do you say to me, flee to your mountain like a bird? So it's like, like David is saying, man, like, in Yahuwah I take refuge. Like, why am I fleeing to a mountain? I don't need to flee to no mountain. Like, I take refuge in my Creator, my Maker, the Most High. Verse 2. For look, the wrong bend a bow. They set their arrow on the string to shoot in darkness at the upright in heart. Verse 3. When the foundations are destroyed, what shall the righteous do? What should the righteous do if the foundations are destroyed? It's I don't know what I would do if I don't know what I would be doing if my foundation wasn't the word, if my foundation wasn't the Most High, if I didn't have these, if I wasn't studied on these writings, these teachings, these instructions. This is my rock. This is my, this is what I stand on. So when the foundations are destroyed, if the foundations were to be destroyed, what shall the righteous do? What should the obedient do? Continue to be obedient if you already know. If you know what's up, you know what's asked of you, you know what's instructed. You got to continue to do that. You got to continue to follow that. Because they're definitely seeking to destroy. Verse 4, Yahuwah is in his set apart Hekel, that's temple. The throne of Yahuwah is in the heavens. His eyes see, his eyelids examine the sons of men. So this is where the Most High is observing. He's watching. He sees what's going on. He sees who's who. He sees who's the children of the enemy, and he sees who's the children of his, spiritual children of his. He's watching. Verse 5, Yahuwah tries the righteous. Yahuwah tries the righteous, but his being shall hate the wrong, and the one who loves violence. So as this is explaining, this is Dawid, this is David explaining how the Most High tries the righteous, meaning the obedient, tests them, puts them to the test. But his being shall hate the wrong, so he hates the wrong. You know, his spirit, the Most High Spirit, the Most High Spirit, the Supreme Spirit, hates those who do wrong, and the one who loves violence. So if you love violence, the Most High is not feeling you. It's not feeling anyone that loves violence. It's not. He's not. You know. He He doesn't love the violence. He doesn't. It says, and the one who loves violence, he pretty much hates. It says, but his being shall hate the wrong, and the one who loves violence. Verse 6, upon the wrong he rains snares. Fire and sulfur and scorching wind are the portion of their cup. This is what he plans to do with those who are, wrongdoers and who loves violence. Verse 7, for Yahuwah is righteous. He has loved righteousness. The upright shall see his face. So the upright, those who stay on the path and following his instructions, they shall see his face. Like he loves the righteous. He has loved righteousness, and that's obedience. He loves obedience. Righteousness is obedience. So this is what he loves. Those who are obedient. Chapter 12, verse 1. Save Yahuwah, for the lovingly committed one is no more. The lovingly committed one is no more. For the trustworthy has ceased from among the sons of men. So this is what it seems. This is what David was experiencing at the time. He was looking around like, man, can't nobody be trusted. Just like today, you may look around and feel like, can't nobody be trusted. For the trustworthy has ceased from among the sons of men. For the lovingly committed one is no more. This is where we can look around today and feel that way. Verse 2, they speak falsehood with each other. They speak with flattering lips, and they speak with flattering lips, a double heart. This is how people speak. They got agendas, hidden agendas. They finessing. They're manipulating, gaslighting. They speak with flattering lips and a double heart. They speak falsehood with each other. This is what most are doing. This is what most are, speaking, saying to each other. Falsehoods. Just trying anything, saying anything. Verse 3, Yahuwah does cut off Yahuwah does cut off all flattering lips, a tongue that speaks swelling words. So when you gassing your words up and you exaggerating situations, you're exaggerating. That's what this is referring to. One who's swelling their words, a tongue that speaks swelling words. When you're exaggerating what it is that you saw, what it is that you experienced, what it is when you exaggerate. That's what this is referring to as one who, a tongue that speaks swelling words. Yahuwah does cut off all flattering lips. So the flattering lips is like you're saying, you're just, you're just saying anything to, you're saying anything to make someone, you know, like you're just telling them what they want to hear. You're saying anything to anyone to make them bend in your favor. This is gaslighting, manipulation, and finessing. Verse 4. Who have said, with our tongue we do mighty. Let me say that again. Who have said, with our tongue we do mightily. Our lips are our own. Who is master over us? This is what they say. This is what the people in position of power are, this is how they feel. This is how they feel. Who is master over us? If they have all the money in the world, who is master over them? This is how they feel, yo. Their lips are their own. So this is what they start saying, and they start speaking, and they start talking wild and crazy, Verse 5, because of the oppression of the poor, because of the sighing of the needy, I now arise, says Yahuwah. I set in safely. He pants for it. Verse 6, the words of Yahuwah are clean words, silver tried in a furnace of earth, refined 7 times. So the words of the Most High are clean words. There's no slander in the words of the Most High. There's no false witnessing in the words of the Most High. Excuse me. There's no lying in the words of the Most High. It's none of that. The words of Yahuwah are clean words, silver tried in a furnace of earth, refined 7 times. So the Most High word is tested. The Most High word is tested. It's you can't say, it's undefeated. It's pretty. You can't speak against it. It's the Most High word is undefeated. Verse 7, you guard them, O Yahuwah, you preserve them from this generation forever. That he does. How else would it explains why we have access to these words to this day? You guard them, O Yahuwah, you preserve them from this generation forever. Forever. This is why we will have the words of the Most High, the words of the God, forever, until all be done. Verse 8, the wrong walks around on every side, when worthlessness is exalted among the sons of men. The wrong walk around on every side, when ruthlessness is exalted among the sons of men. So this is what happened when ruthlessness is exalted, is lifted up. When ruthlessness is lifted up and they're put in position of power, the wrong, those who do what is wrong, who have done what is wrong, walk around on every side. This is what we have today in every city, every state, every county, every country, every colony. That was the book of Psalms, chapter 10 through 12. Now we're going to move on to the book of Proverbs, chapter 22. The book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 1. A good name is preferable to great riches. Favor is better than silver and gold. So your reputation is better than silver and gold. Like, because we see that people who have money, but they don't have respect. You have a lot of people who have money, don't have no respect. No one has respect for them. Like a lot of people that got money, and they just like, most people don't have respect for them. And this is what this is saying. Favor is better than silver and gold. A good name is preferable to great riches. It's better to have a good name than to have great riches, because, who wants to be called a bad name all day, or known as a bad name all day, all their lives, for the rest of their lives? Who wants to be, known for that? No. This is why it's preferable. A good name is preferable to great riches. Favor is better than silver and gold. This is why. Verse 2, the rich and the poor meet together. Yahuwah is the maker of them all. Yes, he is. The Most High is the maker of the rich and the poor. And it's tough for the rich to accept that or remember that. They get to a certain status and start to believe that they're their own maker. Verse 3, a clever one foresees evil and hides himself, but the simple go on and are punished. So yeah, how often do we see this happen in other people's lives or in our own lives? Like, see danger ahead and keep going. It says a clever one foresees evil and hides himself. This is what one who's operating in spiritual wisdom, this is what one does, who's operating in the spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and cleverness. They'll foresee evil and hide themselves. They're not going to keep going if there's evil ahead. This is what we all should do. But the simple go on and are punished. This is what happens when you keep going and you don't read the signs. You don't read the signs and you don't take heed to the counsel and advice of the Most High when he sends it to you through people. When he reveals it to you through vision, insight, intuition. Verse 4, the reward of humility is the fear of Yahuwah, riches and esteem in life. That's the reward of humility, is to hate evil. The reward of humility is to hate evil. And also riches and esteem in life. So riches, glory, and life comes with hating evil and being humble. Hating evil and being humble. The reward that comes with that is riches and esteem and life. It doesn't get any better than that. So let's humble ourselves. If we already humble, let's humble ourselves even more. Verse Verse 5. Thorns, snares are in the way of the perverse. He who guards his life keeps far away from them. So he who guards their life, so he who is cautious, he who will take heed to his spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, they stay far from people who, are perverse. Because you should, if you only knew, if you knew better, you would stay away from someone who is crooked, who speaks crookedly, someone who is corrupt, who speaks corruptly. They always speaking of trouble and doing some harm, doing some wrong. But a clever one sees this and hides himself. The clever one is rewarded by humility. So thorns, snares are in the way of that perverse one. That one that's crooked. That's what perverse means, crooked, and corrupt. So you want to stay far away from this person. It says, he who guards his life keeps far away from them. So if you guard your life, you will stay far away from this person that's corrupt, this person that's crooked, and this is what they into. Corrupt and crookedness. Corruption and crookedness. It behooves you to stay away from them, stay far away from them. Verse 6, train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he turns not away from it. So this is game that David is given to, fathers and mothers. Is to train up a child in the way they should go. How else would they know where to go? How else would they know how to get there? You have to train them up in order to show them where to go. You have to train them up in order to show them how to get there. They wasn't born in this world to just with automatic directions of where to go and how to get there. So you have to train up the child in the way they should go. Even when he is old, he turns not away from it. Verse 7. The richest rules over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. So the riches rule over the poor. The rich rules over the poor. They ruled over the poor then, they rule over the poor now. Nothing has changed. And the borrower is servant to the lender. You find yourself borrowing, you're a servant to the lender. In any situation, even with contracts, even with anything you sign up for a job, you take a job, you have a contract, you sign a signature. So they're giving you money, giving you this whatever it is they're loaning you, you become, whatever it is that you're borrowing, you become their servant until they're paid. Until they're paid. Excuse me. Verse 8, he who sows unrighteousness reaps trouble, and the rod of his wrath perishes. So he who sows unrighteousness reaps trouble. If you sowing unrighteousness, that means you're disobeying, and you're sowing disobedience. You're teaching disobedience, and you're teaching everyone not to be obedient. It says, he who sows unrighteousness reaps trouble. That only leads to trouble for you. When you're leading others to unrighteousness, meaning to not be obedient, to not obey what it is that that was instructed, to not obey what it is that was, set as spiritual law by the spiritual government, by the supreme spirit, the most high Abba Yah. This is what happens. It's like it says, he who sows unrighteousness reaps trouble. You got trouble coming your way. And the rod of his wrath perishes. Verse 9, he who has a good eye is blessed, for he gives of his bread to the poor. So when you have a good eye and you see opportunities to do what is good for people, you see opportunities, you can catch the right moments. This is a time for you to do something good. This is a time for you to do something right by somebody. And it's not about being seen doing it. It's not about someone knowing you did it. It's not about that. It's not about that. It's about knowing, who's in trouble, who's in need. And this is what this is saying. It says, he who has a good eye is blessed, for he gives of his bread to the poor. So you giving your bread to the poor, and you knowing and you just doing it without being seen or telling anybody. This is a good eye. And this is an eye that will be blessed. You have to look for these opportunities to do for those who are in need, those who are less fortunate, and do it without telling anyone that you did it. Do it without letting anyone know or showing anyone or, letting it be seen. Verse 9, he who has a good eye, is blessed, for he gives of his bread to the poor. Verse 10, cast out the scoffer and strife goes out, and contention and shame ceases. So when you cast out those that mock others, when you cast out those who mock others, all the other nonsense goes with it. Cast out the scoffer, which is those who make fun of others, and strife goes out. All the other nonsense goes out. When you get those people out of your circle, when you get people who make fun of others out of your circle, people who mock people, you get these people out of your circle, I guarantee all the drama goes with them. All the argument, all the backbiting, all the gossiping, all the all the lies and the making up, and the telling people's business, all of that goes with them. You just got to get that person from around you. And if you that person, remove yourself. If you're this person, remove yourself from people who are trying to do, the opposite of this. Remove yourself from them, man. Cast out a scoffer and strife goes out, and contention and shame cease. So this shame will cease, even shame, because there will be nothing to be ashamed of if you aren't, bringing shame on anyone else. Like contention. There's no one to being content with, because you're not looking for that. You're not looking for drama. You're not looking for, altercation. You're not looking for any of that. So when you remove the people out of your circle who's looking for that, who's trying to start fights and start arguments, they're lying and making up stuff about people and slandering people. You remove these people out of your life, you'll be drama-free, stress-free, shame-free, contention-free. Verse 11, he who loves cleanliness of heart, whose speech is pleasant, a sovereign is his friend. So a king is friend to one who speaks pleasantly, who speaks, pleasantly, like who speaks, encouragement, speaks, blessings, speaks compliments, speaks, hope, speaks obedience and humility. A king, this is a king's friend, either a friend now or a future friend. One who speaks of all that is good from the ancient knowledge of good. Verse 12, the eyes of Yahuwah shall watch over knowledge, but he overthrows the words of the treacherous. So the eyes of Yahuwah shall watch over knowledge. So knowledge is like, what are you learning if it's not his instructions? What are you really learning if it's not his spiritual government, his spiritual law? What are you really learning? What are you really learning? Eyes of Yahuwah shall watch over knowledge, but he overthrows the words of the treacherous. So the words of the treacherous is slander, you know, manipulation. The words of the treacherous is lying, falsehood, false witnessing, blasphemy. This is the words of the treacherous. Slander and calling someone out of their names. Verse 13, the lazy one says, there is a lion outside. I am going to be murdered in the streets. So this is what the lazy one says. It's like almost saying like, yo, you calling up, making up stories about you being sick just to avoid work. This is what this is referring to. This is a lazy person that don't want to go to work that day, and they'll call and make up some silly story about they don't feel well. They're not, that they're sick, or their son is sick, or their daughter is sick, their kid is sick. This is what they do. The lazy one says, there is a lion outside, making up stories. I am going to be murdered. I'm going to be unalive in the streets. This is what people call their jobs to say. They might say that they have a flat, something, they having car issues because they're lazy and want to get out of work for the day. Likely because they were under the influence from the night before, whether it's under the influence of a person, of a substance. But the next day they feel like they gotta make up a story not to go to work. And this is the equivalent to that. This is the book of Proverbs, by the way, chapter 22. I just read 13, now I'm on 14. Verse 14. The mouth of a strange woman is a deep pit. The one denounced by Yahuwah falls in there. So the one denounced by Yahuwah falls in there. Because their mouth is a deep pit. So you find yourself falling under their influence from the words that they say, from their seduction. And next thing you know, you falling victim to, other things. Because it started with her speaking sweet nothings to you. It starts with her, verse in it's before I move on, it says the one denounced by Yahuwah falls in there. So if you've been denounced by the Most High, meaning the only way you've been denounced by the Most High is if you're not acknowledging Him, if you're not acknowledging His Son. So if you're not acknowledging the Most High and you're not acknowledging His Son, you're denounced by the Most High, and most likely you should you're going to find yourself falling the victim to this strange woman in her words. Verse 15. Folly is bound up in the heart of a child. The rod of discipline drives it far away from him. So, the Most High, a child is bound up with foolishness. It's only concerned with what makes it laugh, and what's fun, and what makes them laugh. This is where a child mind is, and most cases we don't ever grow out of that mind. We just get better at suppressing it and ruling over it, and overriding it. So it says, folly is bound up in the heart of a child. The rod of discipline drives it far from him. So the rod of discipline should not come. The rod of discipline should be the last, stage, the last go-to. It should first start with love. It's just as far as like a child, it's just they should first be loved. They should first be loved, then be instructed. They have to know instructions in order for them to follow them. They have to know the Most High's instructions, which should be aligned with your instructions. They have to know. They have to know direction. They have to know where to go. They have to have direction. If they don't have direction and know where to go, how could you blame them? They have to have correction. You have to be corrected. Whenever they make a mistake and don't follow the instructions, or make a mistake and don't follow directions in the way they should go, that's when they should find themselves getting disciplined. The last step is discipline. That's the last step of the process of parenting. It's first love, first is love, next is direction, third is instruction, fourth is correction for disobeying those instructions. And if you obey those instructions continuously again, then that's when it's discipline. That's when there's discipline. The rod of discipline drives it far from him. Folly is bound up in the heart of a fool. The rod of discipline drives it far from him. The rod of discipline. Verse 16. One oppresses the poor to increase his wealth. Another gives to the rich only to come to poverty. So this is both wrong. You giving to the rich just to come to poverty. The rich don't need your money. The rich don't need nothing from you. The rich don't need anything of it, anything more than what they have already. So why are you breaking yourself to provide for someone that has already? Who they don't need your gifts. They don't need this. They don't need that. You need it more than they do. It says one oppresses the poor to increase his wealth. One oppresses the poor to increase his wealth. Another gives to the rich, only to come to poverty. So, yeah, you oppressing the poor to increase wealth. You got most people in position of power. This is what they're doing. This is what they're in the business of. It's big business at that. Verse 17, incline your ear and hear the words of the wise, and apply your heart to my knowledge. This is what this is. This is what is being spoke. This is what the Most High is speaking through Solomon, just as he spoke through David. Incline your ears and hear the words, the spiritual words of the spiritual wisdom, and apply your heart to my spiritual knowledge. This is what he's been speaking through Solomon and David. This is what he's been speaking to us. Verse 18, for they are pleasant. If you guard them within you, let all of them be ready on your lips. Let all of them be ready on your lips. Let this spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding be ready on your lips. What you read from the Proverbs, from the Psalms, from the Ecclesiastes, what you read from these, let them be ready on your lips. Verse 19, that your trust might be in Yahuwah. I cause you to know today, even you. So this is for your trust to be in the Most High. In order for your trust to be in the Most High, you have to guard his words within you. When guarding his words, meaning memorizing his words. You have to memorize. You don't have to memorize where they are in the verse, in the chapter, and it's just memorizing what was said, what was read, what was written. Memorize what is written. You don't have to memorize the chapter and the verse. That's not important. Memorize what was said. And the more you say it, the more you follow it, the more you'll have it in your memory bank. And you'll just know what it says. And you'll eventually know where to find it. The more you use it, the more you read it, the more you listen, the more you mostly more you read it. Verse 18, for they are pleasant. If you guard them within you, let all of them be ready on your lips. Verse 19, that your trust might be in Yahuwah. I cause you to know today, even you. Verse 20, have I not previously written to you of counsels and knowledge? Verse 21, to cause you to know the certainty of the words of truth, to return words of truth to those who send to you. So this is what it's about. It's to cause you to know the certainty of the words of truth. The certainty. You can be certain. You can be certain that these words are true. You can be certain that these words are true. Verse 22, do not rob the poor because he is poor, and oppress not the afflicted at the gate. So we're not to be robbing the poor because they're poor, man. And people take advantage of those who are poor. Maybe poor in intelligence, maybe poor, in speech. They just can't speak up for themselves or think for themselves. So that's a form of robbery as well. You're taking advantage of people, and you're eventually oppressing. It says, and oppress not the afflicted at the gate. Verse 22, for Yahuwah pleased their for Yahuwah pleased their cause. For Yahuwah pleased their cause, and shall plunder those who plunder them. For Yahuwah pleased their cause, and shall plunder those who plunder them. This is what happens when you mess with the Most High people. When you mess with his people, those who are humble, those who are already going through it, already going through misfortune, and they're humble about it. The Most High pleads their cause and shall plunder those who plunder them. Verse 24, make no friendship with one given to wrath, and do not go with a man of rage. Make no friendship, make no friendship with one given to wrath. This is one who does, does had that. A person who with a short temper, it's not wise to make friendship with this person. A person that can keep their cool, hold their head, it's not wise to, make a friendship with this person. It's not wise. This is why it says, make no friendship with one given to wrath, and do not go with a man of rage. A man or woman of rage, do not go with them. This is why. Why is that? Verse 25, lest you learn his or her ways and find yourself ensnared, find yourself trapped up, find yourself falling into some form of trap because of what your rage got into. You done raged yourself into this. It may be, and this is rage that you picked up from someone that was a person of rage. It rubbed off on you. This rage rubbed off on you. So now you're raging on other people because you spend a lot of time with person that rage on others. You're like this person that has a short temper, and you're a man. You're this man of rage, and this person, giving into wrath because you spend all this time with a person that gives into wrath, that doesn't have no patience, and they have short tempers, and they go spazzing out and raging out. So now you find yourself raging out and spazzing out. This is what happens. Eventually, their habits rub off on you. You spend time with a person long enough, what they do, how they respond, becomes what you do and how you respond. That's why it says, make no friendship with one given to wrath. This is the book of Proverbs, by the way, chapter 22, verse 22. I'm sorry. Chapter 22, verse 24. Make no friendship with one given to wrath, and do not go with a man or woman of rage, lest you learn his ways, his or her ways, and find yourself ensnared, find yourself trapped by this rage, trapped by this, like this person you've become, which is unhinged. Verse 26, and that's a lot of that stuff leads to people, being unalive, losing, getting themselves caught up and getting themselves, arrested or into fights. Verse 26, do not be one of those who shakes hands in a pledge, one of those who are guarantors for debts. So it's basically don't be one of those who agree to something or give your agreement to something or sign your signature or co-sign it to someone, co-sign it for someone. Do not be one of those who shakes hands in a pledge, one of those who are guarantors for debts. Try to refrain from co-signing for people. Unless they're your child. It's no point to co-sign for someone, because you don't have responsibility. You're not responsible for their actions. At least you're responsible for your children's actions. You can co-sign for them. You can be responsible. So because your children are what you brought them up to be, what you raised them to be, what you taught them, and what you protected them from, what you helped them understand, which is right and from wrong. And so co-sign for you, it's okay to co-sign for your children, if they're obedient, if they follow your instructions. But anyone else is like it says, do not be one of those who shakes hands in a pledge, one of those who are guarantors for debts, basically co-signers. Like if this person that messes up, it's on, you can co-sign that, it'll be on you. Yeah, don't be that person. Verse 27, if you do not have the means to pay, why should he take away your bed from under you? So this is what it may lead to. You may agree to pay and you may not have it to pay. So why should he take what you have? Why would you put yourself in a predicament for someone to take what you have because you didn't co-sign for someone who wasn't reliable, who wasn't responsible? Verse 28, do not move the ancient boundary which your father has set. Yeah, so these ancient boundaries, ain't no telling where they are, and ain't no telling how many ancient boundaries been moved when the Most High said not to move them. And the Most High said not to move these ancient boundaries, and you don't know what these ancient boundaries are, and you wondering why your town is being hit with this devastation of a natural disaster, and you wondering why this is happening to this country, or what this is happening to this town, and this is happening to this city, and this happening to this, part of the world. It's most likely because they done moved the ancient boundary that they had no business moving, when the Most High said not to. We don't know what these ancient boundaries are. Do not move the ancient boundary which your father has set. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 22, by the way. Verse 28. Now we're on verse 29. Do you see a man who is skilled in his work? He does stand before sovereigns, meaning kings. He does not stand before obscure ones. So when a person has skills, when a person is skilled in their work, when a person has an intelligence that they can be paid for, a knowledge that people pay them because they the only one that has knowledge of this. They're the only one that know how to fix this. They're the only ones that know how to build this. They're the only ones that know how to heal this and work this. Whatever that knowledge is, whatever that skill is, you make yourself an asset. You make yourself an asset, and you'll be one who stand before kings because they always need this asset. They will pay you to be this asset. They will pay you to carry out whatever it is that, whatever service that you provide, whatever intelligence that you have, that's an asset that is, whether it's to fix something, build something. You want to get yourself to that point that you separate yourself from most people when you learn how to do something, a trade. You learn how to create, learn how to build, learn how to have some form of skill that you're good at, and you're better than others. You're better than others in doing, and or you're the only one able to do it in your area. That's another thing. You may be the only one able to do it in your area, known to do it, and have the knowledge to do it in your area. This makes you an asset, and you'll stand before kings. It says, do you see a man or woman who is skilled in their work, in his work? He or she does stand before sovereigns, stand before kings and queens. When someone knows something that others don't, when someone know how to do something that others don't know how to do, when someone, just is good at something that others aren't good at, they stand before kings and queens because the kings and queens need that work. They need that service. They need that, knowledge, that they need that. They need that kind of people around them. He or she does not stand before obscure ones. They don't stand around just anybody. Their services are needed in higher places. And that completes the chapter. That completes the chapter of the book of Proverbs, chapter 22. Now we're going to move on to the book of Ecclesiastes. Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 1. The words of Koheleth. This is likely to be Solomon, the son of Dawid, the son of David, sovereign in Jerusalem, king in Jerusalem. Verse 2, futility, meaningless, says Koheleth. Futility, all is futile. Why is he saying all is futile? Why is all meaningless? We're about to figure out. Verse 3, what does man gain from all his labor in which he toils under the sun? So it's like when you're living for the flesh, living in the flesh, living for the flesh, what do you gain for real? What is your purpose when it all leads to, the expiration date of everything, the expiration date of all flesh and everything made for the flesh and made by the flesh? It's only purposeful, it's only meaningful when you're living for the spirit. And when you're living in the spirit, when you're living for the spirit, you're operating in the spirit, and you're living for the spirit, you're basically making other people's lives better. You're making the less fortunate lives better. You're making the people around you lives better. You're doing your good deeds in secret for the less fortunate. You're doing for those in need in secret though. You're not telling nobody that you're doing this for them. You're not trying to get views, shares, and likes, and you're not trying to do it for the props. You're not doing it for that. This is operating in the spirit and moving in the spirit. This is living in the spirit. This is what makes life meaningful. If it's not this, then it's futile, like the words are, like Solomon is describing. If it's not this, it's futile, it's meaningless, like Solomon is describing in Ecclesiastes. What does man gain from all his labor in which he toils under the sun? If it's toiling according to the flesh, he gains nothing, because he has to, it leads to nothing. But at least your toil in the spirit, your toil in the ruach, in the spirit, leads to an extension in the spiritual realm. It leads to you making people's lives better, and you following, you sharing, you sharing the instructions of God. You're sharing the teachings of his only begotten son, the lessons of his only begotten son. This is what makes life meaningful. Nothing else makes life meaningful, man. Nothing makes life more meaningful than making other lives better, making people other lives better, teaching the teachings of the teacher, following the teachings of the teacher, sharing the teachings of the teacher, making students of the teacher out of his teachings, the only begotten son, Yahushua HaMashiach, sharing his instructions, following his instructions. This is what makes life meaningful. Everything else is meaningless. Everything according to the flesh, living for the flesh, and it's not worth any of it. Verse 4. A generation passes away and a generation comes, but the earth stands forever. Period. Generations have upon generation have passed, but the earth is still in place. You hear these scientists and these thinkers talking about the earth is this and the earth is dying and the earth is need this and we need to do this for the earth. Earth don't need us to do nothing for it. The earth has it. The earth will spit us out if we becomes a problem. If we become much of a problem, the earth will get rid of. The earth has been here generation on top of generations and will be here until the return of the son of its creator. Until the return of the son of its creator, the earth is going to be here. Don't need us to do nothing for it. Don't need us to do nothing at all. Like, really. Now you could till the earth and work the earth and keep, clean the earth. That'll be respected. That'll make you prosperous. That'll make you prosperous, but yeah. Earth don't really need us, man, to clean it. And I mean, as far as like to take care of it and to save it. Earth is ancient. And it's been here, it's going to be here. A generation passes away, a generation comes, but the earth stands forever. Verse 5. The sun also rises and the sun sets and hurries back to the place where it arose. You know what I mean? Verse 6. Going to the south and turning around to the north, turning, and on its round, the wind returns. So this is Solomon pretty much breaking down the rotation of the sun and the wind. And this is the Most High speaking through Solomon. This Koheleth is known to be Solomon. So this is the wisest man who lived in his time. So he's like, if anyone knows how the sun is operating and how the wind is operating, it would be him. It would be him. Where it goes, tracking its movement. This is overlooked. Like, this is what Solomon has done in this verse 6 and verse 5 and verse 6 in the book of Ecclesiastes Chapter 1. Verse 7, all the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea never overflows. You notice how he's debunking this, this world, as far as, this notion of world, what they call it, global warming. I get some, the globe has been warming. The globe going to do what it does. But what I'm saying is, as far as like the earth failing, this debunking this notion that the earth is failing and it's dying and stuff, like all this mess. Like it says, all the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea never overflows. The sea never overflows. Got the same sea levels. We got the same sea levels. We have the same sea levels. It says the sea never overflows to the place from which these rivers come. There they return again. But you don't hear people talk about this. You don't hear them talk about this. They avoid this. They don't want to have these they have these conversations, but this is overlooked, that how Solomon debunks, this whole theory of the world and it's like falling apart, and how it needs us, to save it and take care of it. Yes, tilling the land and cleaning the land, that will bless you. You receive blessings for that. But Saving the earth. The earth doesn't need you to save it. Like verse 8, all matters are wearisome. No one is able to speak of it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. So as long as we have eyes, we're going to want to see what's going on. You're going to want to see what's going on. You're going to be nosy. You want to see what happened. Oh, let me see. You going like you as long as we have ears, we're gonna, oh yeah, what they saying? Let me hear. What would say? What he say? What they say? What she say? This is how we operate. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. We always want to know, we want to hear what was we want to hear what was said. We want to hear what happened. We want to see what happened. We want to see what was going on. Verse 19. And social media is proof of that. Can't get off it. We can't get off the stuff. That's the new addiction. Verse 9, what has been is what shall be. What has been done is what shall be done. And there is no new matters under the sun. There is no new matters under the sun. It's nothing new under the sun. Like, so who are we? None of us on this earth is older than 120 years old. So how are we going to how are we going to basically definitively say that, you know, something wasn't here 2,000 years ago, something wasn't here 5,000 years ago, something wasn't here 10,000 years ago? We barely, you can barely, everything is theory. If it's not your faith in these writings, if it's not your trust in these writings, these ancient writings, outside of these ancient writings that show themselves to be true in our daily life today, outside of this is theory. It's people, it's scientists, and it's these smart guys and these smart girls with their theories, and they'll definitively say this wasn't happening, or this just got invented, or we just invented this, and this they didn't have this in this time. You know, they didn't have this in ancient time. How do you know? They didn't have electric. They didn't have, data, and, they didn't have Wi-Fi. Like, how would you know? You weren't there. You weren't there in the times of before the flood. Who's to say that who's to say they didn't have Wi-Fi and all this technology before the flood? We talking about according to the ancient writings, we're talking about fallen messengers coming down with knowledge. And you mean to tell me fallen messengers, you believe you mean to tell me fallen messengers didn't have the knowledge of Wi-Fi and all that? Like, this is a reason why the Most High had to get rid of what was going on. Like, it was so crazy that like, you got to think of Babel. What happened in the time of Babel? Even then, when they had to, he had to separate. He had to split up the language. The people was advancing so rapid. They had to break up the nations, like, and break up their language, because they were trying to reach the sky, like what they're people are trying to do today. They're trying to reach the heavens. They're trying to get through the firmament. So who's to say that technology, man, like, let's not. This is why it says All matters are wearisome. No one is able to speak of it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. What has been is what shall be. What has been done is what shall be done. And there is no new matter under the sun. Verse 10. Is there a matter of which it is said, see, this is new? That's not a. I I trust Solomon. I trust Solomon's words, the wisest man who lived in this time. I trust his words over any words of today. It says, see, this is new. Like any who can say that? See, this is new. It was here already long ago, is what Solomon's saying. It was here already long ago. Like before Solomon, he's saying. And this is Solomon saying long ago. So he's basically talking about times of the flood. Like if Solomon's speaking of long ago, his long ago is like, flood times. Solomon long ago time is flood times. Our long ago time is flood times. Our long ago times is Solomon times. And Solomon time is his long ago is flood timing. So he's basically speaking on these times, like times of the flood, times of the Tower of Babel, the times of fallen messengers and, giant people, in birth from, these fallen messengers. He's talking about these times. Like, so it was already here long ago. This is what he's talking about. This is what he's talking about. Verse 11, there is no remembrance of former ones, nor is there any remembrance of those that are to come by those who come later. So he's basically explaining how nobody remember these people who came out with these devices. Nobody remembers these people who wield these devices. Because, and this is true, because today, these people with these theories, they don't remember them, obviously, because they feel as though they were the first one to come out with it. They were the first ones to come up with electric. They was the first ones to come up with, cell phone and Wi-Fi and TV and, you know what I mean? And video and radio. They feel as though they're the first ones who did it. So they obviously don't remember those who've done it long ago. They can't possibly, because none of us are older than 120. Not that we know of. No one on this planet, as far as, a breathing being that we know of, is older than 120. And if they, so it's like, how could they know that this stuff was here long ago? But you got to humble yourself and know that, come on, man. We're talking about an ancient earth, and we just passing through. And there were many, 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 many generations before us. And we can see this reading ancient writings as like the one we're reading. Verse 12, Koheleth, this is supposed to be Solomon, was sovereign, meaning king over Israel, king over Israel, in Jerusalem. Verse 13, and I set my heart to seek and search out by wisdom and concerning all that has been done under the heavens. This evil task, Elohim, meaning God, has given to the sons of man to be humbled by it. To be humbled by it. This is why he gave this task. The Most High gave this task to all men to seek out everything done under the heavens, to be humbled by it, to be humbled like by the experience that you don't know what you think you know. You can't do what you think you can do. You can't go where you think you can go. You can't touch what you think you can touch. You can't conquer what you think you can conquer. You can't live as long as you think you can live. All humbling, all humbling, conclusions. You can't. This is what the Most High allows all generations to come along and test out. Oh, you think you're the one that's gonna, yeah. You think you're the one that's going to overcome this? Oh, you think you're the one that's going to find out? Oh, you think you're the one that's going to reach? Oh, you think you're the one that's going to make it? Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's see what you got. And it's all for you, each generation of men and women, to be humbled by it. To be humbled by this journey, like Solomon obviously was. And I set my heart to seek and search out by wisdom. This was the wisest man who lived, and rich, very rich, and could afford to seek out concerning all that has been done under the heavens, under the sky. This evil task Elohim has given to the sons of man to be humbled by it. I promise you, is to be humbled by it. It will only lead to you being humble because you'll realize, man, I can't go any further. I can't go any higher. I can't go any deeper into the water. I can't go any higher into the sky. I can't go any further through the earth. Something, stay in your lane. It leads all mankind to stay in their lane like, yo, this ain't for you. This ain't for you to know. This ain't for you to go. Verse 14, I have seen all the works that are done under the sun. This is the wisest man who lived, by the way. So he was rich. He's very rich enough to see all that was done. So he's like, I have seen all the works that has been done under the sun, and see, all was futile. This is what he came away with. Everything was meaningless and feeding on wind. Why is he saying that? Because it was done according to the flesh. It wasn't done for the benefit of the spirit within, in order to extend your stay in the spirit realm. Anything according to the flesh, what the fleshly eyes can see, what the fleshly eyes can hear, and what pleasures the flesh and what fulfills the flesh, it's meaningless, it's futile. It will always lead to nothing. It will always lead to be purposeless. Only thing purposeful is doing what it takes to extend your stay as a spirit in the spirit realm. Doing what it takes to extend your stay as a spirit in the spirit realm. That's following the Supreme Spirit's instruction. Following the examples of his only begotten Son. Following the demonstrations of his only begotten Son. Following the lessons, the teachings of his only begotten Son. Treating others how you want to be treated. Everyone how you want to be treated. Treating everyone. That's the only purposeful thing to do here in this stay. Nothing else is more purposeful than that. Nothing. Nothing is more purposeful than that. And Solomon realized this. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, And see, all was futile, feeding on wind. This is where he was at. This is why he was at. This is him explaining to us all. If you're operating in the flesh and you're doing things according to the flesh, it's meaningless. If it's not according to the spirit, if it's not according to following the instructions of God, following. Verse 15, the crooked could not be straightened, and what is lacking could not be counted. Verse 16, so I spoke to my heart, saying, see, I have attained greatness, and I have gained more wisdom than all who were before me in Jerusalem. And my heart has seen much wisdom and knowledge. He's seen it all, done it all, done it all. This is and he explained how he was the wisest who ever lived in his time. Verse 17, and I set my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly, meaning madness and foolishness. So he set his heart on what was mad and foolish, like the crazy parties and the crazy traveling and whatever, doing things and doing this and doing that, going on journeys, boat rides. He's tried it all, everywhere. And I set my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. So he tried everything. He experienced everything. I know that this too is feeding on the wind. It was all feeding on the wind. This was his conclusion. It was feeding on wind because it was according to the flesh, the pleasure of the flesh, the sensation of the flesh, and not the destination of the spirit. If it's not the destination of the spirit and the extension of the spirit, it's feeding on wind. If it's not doing what it takes to extend your stay in the spirit realm, it's feeding on wind. And the wind is the spirit, because that's all that will remains. It's feeding on the wind. Wind is spiritual. Wind is ruach. This is what he came away with. This was his conclusion. This was the wisest man who lived in his time, Solomon. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, by the way. Chapter 1, verse 17. And I set my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly, foolishness. I know that this too is feeding on wind. So the activities that he engaged in that was foolish and mad, insane, like these insane parties that we hear of, or these trips that we hear of people taking and having all this fun and drinking all this and doing all this and, being with this person, that person, and laying down with them all. Yeah, he did all that. And it was all feeding on wind, because it was all according to the flesh. And it will always be feeding on wind if it's according to the flesh. And this was his takeaway. If you didn't dig it, if you don't notice, if you didn't understand it, this is basically what he's trying to explain. If it's according to the flesh, it's meaningless, it's futile, feeding on the wind. If it's according to the spirit, it's purposeful, it's meaningful. It's life. It's the extension of life. Verse 18, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he who increases knowledge increases suffering. Why? Because when you increase knowledge, you understand this. You understand that what you're doing in the flesh is meaningless. What you're doing according to the flesh, for the flesh, is purposeless. Because unless it's doing for others, unless it's making others' lives better, unless it's doing for the less fortunate, and doing it in secret, not to be seen, not to for anyone to know you did it. That's the only thing worth doing in this flesh. It's making others' lives better, treating others how you want to be treated. And that's it. That's the only thing purposeful in this flesh. And following his instructions, following the examples of his only begotten son, following the demonstrations of his only begotten son, following the teachings of his only begotten son, doing all that is treating others how his son treated others, operating how his son operated, in order to become like spiritual beings, spiritual children like his son, through his son. It's the only meaningful duty. That's the only purposeful duty. And that completes the chapter. That completes the reading this week. Well, today. That was we just went over the book of Psalms, chapter 10 to 12, and then we read the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, and we just went over the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, which we do every week until next month. We're going to move on to 2, but every week we're going to be reading 1, because we got to keep reminding ourselves any and everything according to the flesh is meaningless, futile, feeding on the wind. If it got to be in the spirit. The only thing that's meaningful and purposeful is, living in the spirit, living for the spirit, doing for others, and following the instructions and the examples of the only begotten son. Hallelujah, hallelujah, praise Yah, may all glory be to Yah, Yahuwah, Shabuoth, Yahuwah Almighty, Yahuwah Most High, Yahuwah El Shaddai. Hallelujah. Thank you, Yahuwah. Thank you, Yahusha. Thank you, Master Yahushua, for your teachings, your lessons. It was you who said that. It was you, Master Yahushua Mashiach, son of Yah, who said that when 2 or 3 are gathered in your name, you are present, you are amongst us, you are in our midst. Since you are in our midst, since you are amongst us, Master Yahushua Mashiach, son of Yah, I ask that you help us heal from whatever it is that we need healing from. Those who gather in your name need healing from. Master Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah, since you are in our midst, I ask that you help us find comfort in whatever it is that we need to find comfort in, and find comfort from whatever it is we need to find comfort from. Master, find relief from whatever it is we need to find relief from. Send the comforter, Master Yahushua. Send the helper, Master Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah. For those who gathered in your name. Master Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah, help us be obedient. Help us have discipline. Help us have self-discipline. Help us deny ourselves. Deny our flesh of what it wants to do, what it wants to say, where it wants to go, and who it wants to be with. Help us deny ourselves. Help us be stronger in the spirit and weaker in the flesh. Help our flesh submit to our spirit within, our spiritual child within. Help our spiritual child rule over our flesh. Master Yahushua HaMashiach, son of Yah. Help those who gather in your name. Help those who are less fortunate. Help us help those who are less fortunate. Help us do this in secret. Help us do this without telling anyone. Help us do this without posting it for views and likes and shares and follows and comments. Help us be better at treating each other how we want to be treated. Having mercy on each other, having compassion on each other, forgiving each other. Help us greet each other, strangers. Help us love each other, our enemies. Help us be better at this. Help us be better at following your examples, following your demonstrations. Let it be, Master Yahushua HaMashiach, Son of Yah. Let it be. Until next time, peace, love, shalom, shalom, peace, and love.